Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK back at you with another video here to break down the 3-game NFL preseason slate on Friday. We got 20K to first, not bad. If it's your first time watching, I cover content for daily fantasy sports as well as for stuff like Prize Picks, Underdog. Underdog, they're the sponsor of this video. If you guys are not on Underdog, you can use the code DKDFS or the link down below for a $250 deposit match bonus. But how it works is, again, you're building out slips of player props. They also have drafts you can do. You're competing against other people. A lot of different options. Highly recommend it. And if you guys do click the link or use the code and deposit, it does really help support the channel. If you're looking for more content, as always, you can check my Patreon, linked in the description. Again, a lot more content up there for NFL preseason. A lot of notes kind of before lock. We do a stream, answer questions, a little bit more in-depth videos, player pool, all that good stuff. Okay, so recapping yesterday. We had another takedown. It's been really a movie for DFS for Patreon members. That was, I believe, the second half showdown for Chard. A good friend's been in the Discord for a while now, so congrats to him. Love to see that. Jennings was someone I was pretty high on for New England. I felt like he was going to be a bit under-owned on the main slate, and he had a solid day, but going over my lineup, I was pretty tilted about this. So this is the lineup that I built. Still cashed, even without Eric Gray, who fell into the end zone twice. But the Hooker injury really hurt, man. He lost like the whole fourth quarter in a game script that they were playing from behind. Ideal for him. So would have made a ton more if he didn't get injured. But we got the news that Blackshear was inactive for Carolina, right? So that really boosted the appeal of Mike Boone. I mean, to be honest, I already had Boone in my lineup, but that made me like him even more. Again, Jennings was way under-owned. And then I went to Tracy. I was debating Tracy Gray. We talked about that. Had I gone Eric Gray over Tracy, I would probably be a millionaire. And then, I ate the chalk with Smith Marset, played Coker, Kennedy, and then I played Jackson. That was also very tilting. Tyree Jackson got tackled at the 1, and then Eric Gray pounded it in. But it was still a profitable day for me. It's just the Hooker injury really, really hurt. And then I had one miss on pick 6. That was Vaki going over his rushing yards. And I think he only covered that. I think he only had like 30 rushing yards, so he barely went over. But that's the recap there, guys. And so let's get into it. Let's just go position by position. And let's start off with Atlanta. So Atlanta, we know Kirk Cousins is not going to play. You got the rookie Michael Penix, Heineke, and then Rourke as the other 3 quarterbacks. Michael Penix, I think, is going to play the most of these Atlanta quarterbacks. I think he has the upside to play about a half as well. So he's definitely my favorite play on Atlanta for quarterback. I think one of the better quarterback plays in general on this slate. Now for Miami, we know that Tua Tagovailoa is not going to play, so that leaves Mike White and Skylar Thompson. I think 2 of the safest quarterback plays as well. Expecting a half for each. Thompson's a little bit more mobile, so I think he has a bit of a higher floor. But both Miami quarterbacks look pretty good. Houston is basically a stay away. We know the starters are going to play a little bit. They have 4 quarterbacks. Really hard for me to go to anyone on Houston. For Pittsburgh, we know that Russell Wilson's not going to play. Justin Fields is expected to play a couple of series. So, with how mobile he is, he's playable. There's other quarterbacks that we can expect more playing time from. But Fields is playable. And then I am interested in Plumlee as well. So we got to think about how this is going to work, right? Because Fields is going to get his couple series, and then most likely Kyle Allen's going to come in. I think probably finish the half. I think you can get a full half of Plumlee, who is very mobile. So I am intrigued by Plumlee there for sure. For Philadelphia, starters not expected to play. You got 3 quarterbacks. Nothing really standing out there. And then for Baltimore, we know starters not expected to play either. You do have 3 quarterbacks. I'm not as interested in Josh Johnson. He's like 50 years old. I don't think they really need to see a ton from him. I do think Emory Jones is a little bit interesting. He is very mobile, so I think he's at least playable as well. Let's go through these running back rooms. Okay, so for Atlanta, not expecting Bijan or Algier to play here. So that leaves, do they? Okay, they do. Yeah, so that leaves 3 backs. That's going to be Williams, McClellan, and Carlos Washington Jr. I think all pretty solid plays. Running back, there's teams that have a lot more running backs. There's some teams that are going to play like 6 running backs. So I think Atlanta is one of the better teams to target for running backs. So Williams, McClellan, Washington, I think all look pretty good. for Miami. So again, not expecting the main guys to play here, Mostert and Achane. And then I don't think Jeff Wilson plays either. I don't think there's a need to play him. Alec Ingold's a fullback, so that basically leaves 3 backs, right? You got the rookie in Jalen Wright, who's been looking really good, and then you have Ahmed and Brooks, a couple of vets. So Miami, another team that I think looks pretty good for running back. I think Wright will be the most popular for sure, but Ahmed and Brooks firmly in play. All right, Houston. So Houston, probably my least favorite team to target for running back. You have a ton of guys here. Mixon's not expected to play, but Dameon Pierce is expected to play here. You got Pierce, you got Ogunbowale, you got Jordan, you got Akers, you got Taylor, you got Brooks, you got a couple fullbacks. I mean, this is gross. I'm basically crossing off the Houston running backs. For Pittsburgh at running back, so the starters expect to play a couple series. Don't think we can get to Najee Harris or Jaylen Warren, expecting them to get those, couple series with the starters. And then you still do have 4 backs, though, so not a ton here for Pittsburgh that I like. Philadelphia. Okay. So Philadelphia are not expecting Saquon to play. I don't think Kenny Gainwell will play much, if at all. Now, they do have TDP from San Francisco. He is also on the depth chart, so I'm expecting 4 running backs to play here. Shipley, Nichols, TDP, and Milton. I think Shipley probably gets the most opportunities, the rookie. So he'd be the preferred option, but there's other teams that are a bit thinner at running back. And then finally, Baltimore. I think Baltimore is another team that we can look to for running back. So I doubt Derrick Henry or Justice Hill play. Keaton Mitchell's already out with an injury. Ricard is a fullback, right? So that leaves 3, right? Looking at the depth chart, you got Ali, you got Owen Wright, and you got Collier. Now, Rasheen Ali, the rookie, will probably get the most ownership. So he's a pretty good play, but still have interest in Wright and Collier as well. So Baltimore's another team that is relatively shorthanded at running back. All right, so wide receiver. Wide receiver is pretty gross for most of these teams. Not a ton that really stands out. There's not a ton of teams that are pretty thin at wide receiver, but let's kind of talk it through here for Atlanta, right? So not expecting the starters to play. London, Mooney, and then Ray McLeod. Rondale Moore got injured, so do not go there. They still have a good amount of guys available, though. So I think, the preferred options here for Atlanta would probably be kind of the guys in the middle of the depth chart. I think Casey Washington, probably your best bet, the rookie. They have him listed kind of in the middle there. But yeah, I think any of these guys kind of in the middle of the depth chart would probably be where I would prefer to go. But again, they still do have a good amount of available wide receivers. Now for Miami. Okay. So for Miami, I don't think we're going to see any of the top 4, Tyreek Hill, Waddle, Beckham, Berrios. We'll keep an eye on Berrios, but I think they said it was undisclosed, unspecified injury there for Braxton Berrios. But let's take a look at the depth chart here for Miami. So again, not expecting those top 4 guys to play. I do think Malik Washington will probably get the most ownership here for Atlanta. He is, again, rookie, middle of the depth chart. Expect him to get a good amount of work. So I think Malik Washington's solid. Eric Uzukama played a lot last year. He's a decent option. Then you have a couple of vets, Willie Snead, River Craycraft, and Anthony Schwartz. So I'm looking to the middle of the depth chart here for Miami for wide receiver. That's probably your best bet. All right, Houston wide receiver, it's pretty disgusting. So Noah Brown, not expected to play. Stephon Diggs got banged up. I don't think he'll play. I just don't think there's any need to push him. But starters are expected to play here, and they still have a ton of guys, Houston. So the one thing I will say about Houston is they have good quarterback play, right? CJ Stroud, obviously, and then you got Davis Mills as a backup, one of the better backups in the league. So you do have good quarterback play. I think if I'm targeting a wide receiver for Houston, it's going to be the guys in the middle of the depth chart again. That's going to be like Xavier Hutchinson, John Mechie, Skoranek. Those guys played the most in the Hall of Fame game. So I think those would be the top targets here for Houston if I was to play Houston wide receiver. Now for Pittsburgh, so again, we know the starters expect to play a couple of series. Now, can you take a shot on like George Pickens? It's doable. I think there's other guys going to play more, but yeah. So like starters expected the top 3 guys: Pickens, Jefferson, Austin. I think they'll get a few series, is my guess. Now, if we're looking kind of at the middle of the depth chart, you have Scotty Miller, Quez Watkins, Dez Fitzpatrick. Those are probably the guys that I would personally look to. I think they'll get the most run in this game. And then again, Roman Wilson is out for Philadelphia. Okay, so not expecting the starters to play. Brown, Smith. I don't think we'll see Paris Campbell. John Ross also got a little bit banged up. We'll see if he gives it a go. This team could be relatively shorthanded. You got the rookie and Johnny Wilson, big body wide receiver. I think he'll get a good amount of run this game. You got Britton Covey, kind of more of a special teams guy, but he can play in the slot. I think he'll get some action. Nagata, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Second-year guy now. He put a lot last year. Another decent play at the wide receiver position. And then finally, Baltimore. So Baltimore, again, not expecting the main guys to play. Zay Flowers, Bateman, Aguilar. I think the guy that's probably going to get the most ownership here for Baltimore would be the rookie in Walker. Sorry. So big play guy. He's got a lot of upside. So I think he'll get a first crack at it. He's solid. But yeah, I mean, Baltimore still has a good amount of wide receivers as well. Right. I mean, you got Tylan Wallace has been there for a bit, a couple of veterans here, Gage, Hardy, you got Keith Kirkwood's been around for a bit, Cunningham, and he was converted quarterback. So they still have a lot of options here at wide receiver, but yeah, I think the upset's probably the highest there on Walker. But yeah, like no team is super shorthanded at the wide receiver position, right? We had Carolina that was the most shorthanded last night. They had technically 7 active, but we knew that Marshall and Mingo weren't going to play a ton. So we don't really have a situation like this on this slate. Now, things could change. Maybe one of these teams end up sitting a lot of guys. Some teams will get inactives before lock. Some teams we won't. Like, for example, last night, we had 2 of the 4 teams we got inactives from. It was Carolina and it was New England. The other 2 teams, not really. I mean, we did get some news kind of right before lock, but we didn't get like the full inactive list. Okay, tight end. So tight end's pretty gross here. For Atlanta, not much. I mean, they have a lot of guys available. Nothing really standing out for Atlanta. Looking for Miami. So I do think that Julian Hill's solid. He's probably your best bet for playing time. I doubt that the top 2 guys play a ton. You got Force in there as well, but I think Hill's probably your best bet. Houston is relatively shorthanded. Quarantano got banged up last game. I doubt we see, we're probably going to see a couple drives for the main guys, but that kind of just leaves the rookie and Cade Stover. Played a good amount in the Hall of Fame game. I think he's probably one of the better tight end plays on the slate for Pittsburgh. So again, starter's going to get a couple series. Thanks to be Freiermuth and Washington. Hayward's been around for a bit. Nothing really standing out. Probably Washington or Hayward would be the top bets there for Pittsburgh. For Philadelphia, they have a lot of guys as well. Not much here. Again, I doubt we see Goddard. They just have so many guys on this depth chart that there's just not a ton that I love. And then for Baltimore, so I don't think we're going to see Andrews or Likely. I think Likely gets grouped into the starters. Charlie Kolar played a lot in the preseason last year. I think he's probably your safest bet. But once again, they do have a lot of bodies here. And then defense. So no real standouts for defense. I think the Baltimore-Philly game is going to be some bad weather. If you want to target, that's also the lowest total. So those are probably your 2 safest defenses. But again, I think all 6 defenses are in play on this slate. All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up. That's the quick breakdown. Again, I have a lot more in-depth stuff posted on Patreon. If you guys are interested, it is linked in the description. But if you do enjoy, just make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're getting a lot of support on these videos, so really do appreciate it. I'll see you guys all in the next one.